Hello, please, if you can hear me, can you indicate? Hello, everyone. I welcome you all to HTN Talk Series number 2. My name is Zainab Umar Shuaibu. I am the Assistant HR Manager at HTN, and I will be your moderator for today's program. Our topic for today is phishing and scams, how to recognize and avoid them. This interesting topic will be discussed by our great cybersecurity instructor. He's also a consultant at HTN in person of Aminu Idris. Aminu Idris is also the CEO of AI Vocational Institution of Training. So can you guys get your jotters and pens ready so that you won't miss on any important point? And if you have questions, write them down. Later on, we will come to and attend to that. Without wasting much time, I will welcome our speaker, Amidu Idris. Sir, you are welcome.
Thank you very much, Zainab. It is a great pleasure for me to join you at this very afternoon. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yes, sir.
All right. You permit me to, because I actually prepare some video slide with regard to this session. So the session is all about phishing and scam. There was actually a lot of issues when it comes to maybe recognizing the issues related to phishing, scams, as attackers constantly are developing new exploits. As they are coming up with different set of methods that they are using to harvest people information and data in this aspect. So the topic is much more interested, and I can say this: I was very happy when I see there was the topic that was given to discuss when on this. Is really a privilege. So I don't have to reintroduce myself again, but I will just say a bit. As you hear, I was in name. I have been into the cybersecurity domain for over 8 years. So at least I believe I can do justice to phishing and scam when it comes to the aspect of recognizing and a method of avoiding them. So let's start the session briefly. As you all know that whenever we talk about the word phishing, people tend to look at it as if somebody going to the river with a fishing net, putting it inside the river and try to maybe catch a fish from there. Fishing has gone something beyond that actually, because the essence of utilizing the word fishing, it is just because of it is pronounced such as the normal word of fishing. But this one entails all about tricking people into giving out password. It's spelled with PH due to it is long time was it hacker use of traditional before they normally tend to utilize that PH instead of F there. So let's look at what does the technically this word means. based on the research that I carry out according to the Wikipedia, phishing is an attempt to obtain sensitive information such as username, password, credit card information, and it is being done indirectly. Yes, an attacker will sit down and craft something very, very amazing so that the moment you see it, just maybe you feel like if you did not commit this or if you did not do this, it may result into something, a sort of consequences like that, which in an attempt to avoid that, you easily maybe click that because this happen mainly on links. People will just sit down from the comfort of their bed, craft one kind special email or craft kind of one kind special content and attach it with kind of a write-off there. No, all that's one thing to understand about people that are performing all those sort of phishing is that they are not, they are very, very smart people and they don't just do it anyhow. They are very, very smart because for you to be able to sit down and craft a special phishing email or maybe a content that has to deal with phishing, you have to study the psychology. That is why we have a specific psychology that is talking about social engineering. That's the psychology of social engineering as well. So maybe you can research to that later. So how can we be able to protect ourselves when it comes to aspect of phishing? This is where the questions that was raised actually whenever we talk about this. Some people say the best way to protect yourself against phishing is to learn how to recognize the fish. Yes, the fish is real and it is not something funny. You can fall a victim of it and I can fall a victim of it. Yes, actually, because one thing to bear at the back of your mind is that there is no any technology that can protect you against phishing. It is your responsibility that you act in order to see that you protect yourself and your personal information from being exposed into the hand of attackers. Are we together, please?
We are together.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We are together.
All right, all right. That's nice. So, like I was saying, there is no technology because you can give a computer a protocol. Computer, please, when this is coming, ignore it. Don't allow it to have access to this. But if you give it into a human being, easily somebody can send out and craft something, which in turn will you just collect it directly from maybe without wasting any much more time there. So the phishing is actually targeted by employees' weaknesses. No, whatever kind of attack that we are experiencing in the domain of cybersecurity or in just a real world scenarios that we are experiencing, the first thing that the attacker will start doing is to try to gather information against you. Yes, there is no way an attacker will just sit down and start targeting or start targeting organization without having much more information required that he will use to target that organization. So this is very, very important. It was one of the reasons why we say the target are mostly the employees that have obtained the weakest link. Instead of going to attack the organization, maybe the organization have implement a kind of a very strong protocol with regard to phishing and some other stuff like that, implementation of firewall and all sort of things there. So the attackers now of come up with a method or a techniques of not going directly to the server or directly to the system to attack it, break it, and just maybe get what they want. But instead, they will just request for it. So attackers totally now stop wasting their time in trying to crack their head and break into system to perform all those kind of stuff like that. They can just sit down from the comfort of their homes, craft one kind of special phishing stuff and then send it to one of the employee that is working. If they say they are targeting organization, and then from there they will get point of entry from that very employer. So for the internet criminal, actually the fish is increasing because your personal information is being exposed. So it was one of the reasons why attackers normally choose different sort of medium where they will sit down and craft all those kind of email stuff that are related. Mostly phishing used to come via emails, though there's a lot of fishy stuff that we tend to see on social media, but the real phishing normally used to come via emails. And even on social media, we used to see all sorts of things, but mainly it is being targeted via email. So that is why we have to be very, very careful when it comes to an emails. Like I was saying, phishing email is almost always to tell you that it always is about sort of a command maybe or something that will just try to catch your attention, which in turn will trick you into performing that particular thing that you want to do. So one thing to also note is that legitimate organization will never request your personal information via email unless otherwise required. Whenever you receive something that looks fishy, communicate. If you cannot be able to identify what does it actually entails, try to communicate with a friend. Maybe he can help you fish out what does the content actually is all about. To end this, we are going to look at the top 10s on how can we be able to identify a phishing when we see it. So these are just much more like a tips. I will start with the first one. I say don't trust the display name. Of course, display name had tricked people into giving out a very huge number of information. A favorite phishing tactic among cyber criminals is to sub display name on emails. Yes, maybe you receive an email claim to come from the CEO in the organization that you're working, or some organization, maybe bank, all sort of organization that we tend to interact with our day-to-day activities. You just sit down and then crap and display the name there. Just because you saw the name of the email, that does not mean that that email is reliable. It comes from the real organization unless you make further investigation. So you always look for the domain. For example, secure.com, you authenticate the defense mechanism that used to come with the email, the bank behalf, the delivery of the email, the appearance of the legitimate content of the email, the inboxes, the mobile phone, all sort kind of things you have to investigate them before you conclude that, yes, this is a real email. It comes from the organization that I'm expecting. Tip number 2, you look, but you don't click. Quite all right, we tend to receive a lot of emails. Yes, actually, if you check your inbox, you observe that even if you have not given your personal information to anybody, some sort of email will be coming, which some are legitimate or some are illegitimate emails. So cyber criminal love to embed links into an emails. Yes, you just sit down. I mean, the way they normally used to implement the trick is that they will write the real the real link, and then beside that particular link, they will just invite the legitimate link attached with it and then send it via email. So how can you be able to cope with that? You hover your mouse over the link. That was when you can be able to identify whether the link is embedded in the body of the email, and if so, the real link is going to appear. When the real link is from there, you begin to decide on whether it is legitimate or it is non-legitimate. Aside of that, also, attackers are coming up with an advanced techniques when it comes to, legitimate of the link there. Attacker can spend a very huge amount of money to host a website that looks similar to what you are expecting them from, just to target you, to trick you into giving some information there. So you check for spellings. Check for spellings. Think before you click. Always you think before you click. So you check the spelling mistakes and all sorts of things. You analyze the salutation, value customer, and some sort of salutation that used to come with the mails. From there, if the things look suspicious, maybe or you are confused, like I said, don't click on something that you don't have knowledge on. You make your finding, you make your research. If the issue maybe escalate to a certain point, you consult somebody that know much more about all those stuff than you before you make a click. Tip number 5, never give up personal information or company confidential information via emails. Yes, like I said, most companies will never ask for your password, personal credentials via email, most especially banks. Likewise, most companies will have policies in place preventing external communication between business IP addresses. So this is where does actually the stuff come in. A sort kind of deceptive message that they will send to your inbox in an attempt to get the information of the organization, which in turn they will use it to access the organization, maybe to break into the server, to perform a lot of stuff there if care is not taken. So organizations tend to have a kind of policy with regard to external communication for the business IP addresses and some sort of things. And on no account you should be using your personal email to communicate to any of the employee of the organization that you work with. Please, are we together? Are we making sense?
Yes, sir.
You are making
So let's move to tip number 6. Beware of urgent or threatening language in the subject of the emails. I can tell you this. Even yesterday, there was an email I received. They claim to be a Facebook team telling me that the page of our institute is violating some content. So they send it attached with one link commanding us to click. If otherwise, the page will be suspended in the next 48 hours. So looking at all the content, always by looking at the subject, you can be able to, at the first, when you see the email, they will just try to maybe make it a kind of they will just scrap something that will make you afraid. If you don't do this, this is going to be the consequences. So in a situation like that, never be afraid for you to be able to decide based on that. Like I said, the email as I was received is it read as this: urgent notice, add account suspension pending due to violation. There, AI Vocational Training Institute of Cybersecurity, we regret to inform you that the art of your profile has been determined to be non-compliant with Meta advertisement standard. As a result, your ad account will be suspended on 11 October, that of yesterday, 2024, pending final review with potential being permanented suspension. Specific violation content, they list some stuff there, and then they give me 24 hours to appeal by just clicking one sort of a link. Unfortunately, when I was actually hovering over the link, I come to discover that the link is not directly coming from Facebook. It was actually grabbed by somebody outside, trying to make me click on the link, and then from there they will request the information, which in turn will give them access to the page. That is what they are saying. Tip number 7, you review the signature. Lack of detail about the signer or how you can contact the company strongly suggests a fish. So always look for signing this particular email that was sent you. Legitimate business always provide detail about their businesses when they send you an email. So you check on them to confirm whether it is real one or it is a fake one. Don't click on attachment. Emails used to come with a lot of attachment, malicious attachment, viruses, ransomwares, and others. That was actually a case that they stuck into a ransomware. The system locked up completely. The next thing that you see on the screen is a BTC wallet, an address of one particular wallet running on the screen, requesting him to pay $500. Otherwise, all the details that are on the system will be deleted. And they mean it. He didn't pay the money, and they wiped the system. So you see, all those kind of things used to come with a lot of consequences. Malware can damage file on computer. It can steal your password beyond your imagination. It can result you into a severe damage in the system. So you should be very, very careful when you receive an email. That as part of tip number 8. Tip number 9, don't trust the header from the email addresses. Header is becoming something like in such a way that even an attacker can sit down and manipulate a header and then send an email a response to that organization or a particular organization with regard to that. So the email address of the header should not be trusted. Fraudsters always send a brand to display a name, spoof the brand from the header, include all the necessary things that they want just to make it look legitimate emails for them to send to their target. And then from there, if care is not taken, you will fall victim of it. Tip number 10, don't believe in everything you see. This one is happening even in our real life scenario. It is not everything that you see that you should believe. There are some things that when you see them, you know that yes, this is real and this is fake. So it is not everything. Once like this one is just much more like a common a real life situation whereby maybe somebody will come and tell you so person is doing this, provided that you didn't see him with your own naked eye doing it, or you is doing that thing that very person tell you is doing. So phishers are extremely good at what they do. Remember, I have told you, for you to become a very successful, social engineer, there was a lot of things that you need to go through. So they used to go through that. They used to take time, sit down, research on their target very well before they proceed to execute that activity that they wish to execute with regard to the person. How can we be able to spot the fish in the investigation? You receive an email that is containing maybe a link. It contains an attachment. Does it contain information? So maybe you read the email and at the end, one thing I really like about phishing emails is that they used to come with a link. Yes, some of them used to come with a link. Some, it is not a link, but they will tell you to do something. And then in which a return to that, if that thing doesn't actually there, so it may result into something otherwise. So you always check for these three things. Does the email contain a link? Does it contain an attachment? Does it require you to keep your personal information or confidential information regarding something that you are managing? If you notice any of these three, put that email as suspicious. Put it to pending further investigation. Further investigate that email before you proceed to make your actions there. Part of the cues that used to come with an email.
Sir,
I don't know.
you should be
Yes, ma'am.
please.
Yes. Hello. Are you saying something?
Yes, sir. I see, sir. You should be rounding up this.
Okay. Like I said, always used to come with spelling mistakes, time, clicking links, advert, and all sort of things like this. So in a situation whereby you notice something that come with this, so maybe you make further suggestion with regard to this. So I think that's all what I have. As I was alerted, the time is actually over. But nevertheless, maybe if you need the slides, I can hand it over to the management, then they will maybe share to each and every, because I have much more stuff that I prepare for the session. But time will not allow us to digest almost everything as we didn't start the session really. So I think I will hand you back to was it Ms. Zainab for further action. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. We really appreciate that. Was amazing. So I've dropped a number in my chat in the chat group. If you have like you need the slides and you're not in our group, please you should kindly talk to me on WhatsApp. And do we have anyone that have a question? If you have a question, please can I see your hand? So why are we silent? Is it that we do not get what he has said, or we have gotten everything, understood everything? We don't need more clearance on it. So if you have a question, please kindly raise your hand. Okay, so I see Abubakar Bello, you have a question. You can unmute yourself and ask the question, please.
Hello, good day, everyone. Hello.
We can hear you. Ask your question.
We can hear you.
Please, good day, everyone. I have my question is that if someone sends you a link to visit it, do you have any specific website or software that you can detect that link is suspicious or?
Okay, thank you. Sir, I don't know whether you have gotten his question, Sir Aminu.
I got the question about fashion. Maybe if you can, or you can assist us if you get it, then I can grasp what he's trying to say and then
I think what he's trying to say, maybe there is a website or something like that that he can maybe click, put the email or something like that to help him identify phishing, whether it's a scam or phishing email. Is that what you said, Abubakar Bello?
Yes, it's
So
what
we
I said.
have, is that what you are trying to ask, Abaka?
This is what I'm trying to ask.
All right. Like in the case of analyzing website reputation for checkers, maybe when somebody send you a link, I believe there was virus total, there is web trust, there is notion safe. All those are reputable crawlers when it comes to the aspect of analyzing the legitimacy of a link, because if a link is said to be legitimate, once you scan it with a virus total or web of trust or notions web safe, maybe you can be able to grasp whether the stuff is real or it is not real. So we have such kind of sites like this.
Okay.
Maybe you can make research on it, but
Okay.
these
Thank
are
you,
some
sir.
of them you can also
Mohammed
get.
Saad, what's your question, please? Can you be fast?
Okay, good day, everyone. So, please, my question is, isn't there a way that you will fight back when you receive a phishing email? Is it the only solution?
I
Is
think
the only solution to that just neglecting the email? Isn't there a way that you will fight the phishers back?
um your voice was not clear. I'm not sure whether Sir Aminu have gotten the question.
Yes, it's the voice issue. I couldn't get what he's trying to say. Actually.
Okay, I
I
think what
said,
we'll do
is
is,
there, hello?
yeah, go on.
Yeah, I said, is there a way that you will fight back after realizing that it's not a genuine email, it's phishing? Is there a way you will fight the people trying to attack you back?
Okay, thank you.
Attack them back.
Not
Just
just
delete the
neglecting
email.
the
That's
email
just it.
or
What
deleting it.
matters the most is protection. You protect yourself against the mail. So the moment you realize that it is not legitimate email, you just delete it. That's just it.
Okay.
Don't.
Those people are raising their hands. Please, my number is in the chat box. You can chat me and send me your question in WhatsApp, and we will respond to your question, please. And to add to was it Muhammad Saad? I think there in email. If you receive an email and you suspect it's a phishing email, there's a way to report it. You report it as a phishing email. So like we all know, High Tech Ninja is a dynamic tech company dedicated to provide practical solutions across various sectors with cybersecurity as our primary focus. Part of HTN services is cybersecurity, providing cybersecurity awareness training. And we all know that October is dedicated to cybersecurity awareness, as cybersecurity awareness month. So let's continue to stay safe, avoid clicking on any link you see, and if you notice anything unusual, kindly report or seek advice from those that know more about all these type of threats. Thank you everyone for joining us without wasting much of your time. We really appreciate you, and thank you so much, Sir Aminu. We are so happy that you were able to provide us with all this information for us to stay safe. Thank you so much. So
Right.
this
Thank you so
brings
much.
to the end of our program for today. You all have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you very much.